Okay, hello. Hello, everyone. So the race should be starting in just a minute here. So we got a great race for you today. This is our winners finals of our Pikmin 3 Deluxe tournament. We got Ice Cube versus Claris. Both top level runners, both previous world record holders. Claris currently has the world record at 38 minutes. Ice Cube's PB not far behind. And they're off.
Galactic date 20XX.
So, for those of you who may not be too familiar with Pikmin, this first day is a really nice little introduction tutorial sort of day. It teaches you all of the how to play the game. So essentially, you have all these Pikmin that you have under your control. You can throw them around to have them do tasks for you, such as breaking these mushrooms that are in your way. And we'll also be using them to fight enemies and carry objects back to our base. So in the this was just Charlie's section of the tutorial. Now we're moving on to Alf's section. And with Alf, we're meeting our red Pikmin for the first time. And right off the bat, we're going to be building this bridge to the other side. With bridge fragments, our Pikmin will pick them up, bring them to the bridge that it needs to go, and then they will automatically go back to the bridge fragments and pick up some more. But it's actually faster if we call our Pikmin and throw them, because right now all our Pikmin are leafs, and leaf Pikmin are a lot slower. Later on in the game, we'll see our Pikmin mature into flower Pikmin, which are a lot faster. But for now, we want to do anything we can to help speed them up. And that involves just running right into them and pushing them forward. As you can see, both of our runners utilizing that to the best of their ability to get this bridge built as quick as we can. And after building this bridge on the other side, we're going to be seeing a bunch of red pellets and enemies that we'll be using to increase our Pikmin numbers, because there's not a whole lot you can do with just 4 Pikmin. So by the end of day 1 here, both of our runners will be growing 21 red Pikmin, using all of these pellets and enemies that are in this area. Day 1 is a really simple day. There's pretty straightforward. There's not a ton of time to be saved or lost, so I expect our runners to be pretty evenly matched coming out of day 1 here. There's a little trick that you can do coming up here to make the onion sprout out Pikmin a little faster. If you time how the pellets go into the onion, you can actually have the sprouts from this 5 pellet come out a little bit faster. And it seems like Ice Cube got it pretty well, but Claris has the 5 pellet coming in a little bit sooner. So she has a little bit of time lost from that, and it looks like Ice Cube is taking a little bit of a lead coming out of day 1 here. So all that's left on this day is just to break down this gate here and walk on over to our ship that's just out of this cave. Looks like Ice Cube's got a nice little 5-10 second lead coming out of day one. Nothing insurmountable yet, of course. There's still plenty of the game left to play. So now we're moving on to day 2, and right off the bat in this area there's going to be a lot of multitasking going on. With our 20 Pikmin we're going to be breaking down a gate, trying to build a bridge to the next area, as well as grow more Pikmin all at the same time. So this first part of day 2 really tests a runner's multitasking abilities. In addition, we're going to be throwing Pikmin across the shore, you see Ice Cube doing here, and we're setting these Pikmin on the gate that's over there. They'll be working on that gate, which we'll just save time, because otherwise you'd need to sort of just wait on it to come down. But if we set Pikmin on it early, we can have the gate be down already by the time we get there. So like I said back in day 1, Pikmin, when they build a bridge, they automatically walk back to the bridge fragments when they're done. So we set 7 Pikmin on that pile, and they will automatically get that all done while we go over behind the gate here and get this bridge pile. Right here what we see Claris pick up is some nectar, and that will, after drinking the nectar, that will make our Pikmin mature into flower Pikmin, which will make them move and, more importantly, carry things a lot faster. And that'll be very important throughout the entire run to have as many Pikmin as we can flowered. There's going to be several more opportunities throughout day 2 to get a lot of our Pikmin flowered, and we're going to want to take advantage of that as much as we can. So Ice Cube now coming into the Rock Pikmin cave. After defeating this one enemy here, we get to meet our second type of Pikmin, Rock Pikmin. And they're used to break these crystals. That's their special ability, I guess. They can break crystals like this, and unlike every other type of Pikmin, they cannot latch on to enemies and do damage over time, but they do a lot of they do a really strong hit when thrown. They do a lot of like impact damage. So that has its use as well sometimes. So right behind these crystal walls here, we're meeting up with our second crewmate, Brittany. And in addition to helping with multitasking, like being able to split up the 2 captains, you're also able to throw Brittany to be able to reach ledges that are otherwise inaccessible. So now that we've got Brittany, we're going back to the landing site, and there's a crystal wall back here that will lead to the first boss. First, we're just going to pluck all these reds that we've grown in the background while on our way over to Brittany. So we're able to throw Brittany and most of our Pikmin squad across this river, and that will lead to the armored Maudad, our first boss of the run. And the Ender runners are going to be building this bridge while the fight's going on, as well as killing and carrying back the enemies there just to grow a few more Pikmin. Alright, now Ice Cube's still in the lead, heading into the Armored Maudad fight. Now, as the name implies, it has armor that you need to break off with rock Pikmin, and once it has a piece of it exposed, you can charge it with red Pikmin to do a lot of damage. You can't kill it right away because it always tries to climb up the wall like this, and while it's on the wall, it's hard-coded not to be able to die, so we want to call off our Pikmin to not get it in the enraged state, and ideally kill it as soon as it comes down off the wall. And Ice Cube had a little bit of bad luck with the pattern it gave him, but still a pretty solid fight. Claris in a little bit of trouble getting the kill on the Maudad here. So day 2, we're able to end day 2 as soon as the phone that the Maudad drops comes back. So once we get the phone moving at full speed, there isn't anything else we can really do to speed up the day. But what we do want to do is, again, grow as many Pikmin as possible and get as many of them flowered as we can. So with the runners just waiting on the phone to get back and flowering up all these red Pikmin we just grew. Ice Cube now with a more sizable lead going into day 3. Day 3 has the first big sequence break of the run. Day 3 basically is just one big sequence break, honestly. So right off the bat, what happens is Brittany sort of falls out of the ship and crash lands in this cave with yellow Pikmin. And what you're supposed to do is grow up to 20 Pikmin in there to push a boulder to help you escape. But you can actually walk up out of bounds and skip the yellow onion entirely and leave the cave with just the 5 yellow Pikmin that you find. And doing that saves about a minute, so when done perfectly, of course. the out of bounds can be a little finicky, so we'll see how our runners can deal with that. And then once we get out of the cave, the out of bounds isn't over yet. There's another big sequence break once we leave this cave as well. Ooh, Ice Cube having a little trouble, but had a really nice backup there. Now we walk over this route, and he's out. So now once we're out of this cave, we can just walk up this wall here up out of bounds, and do some precise a clip here, and then some precise walking out of bounds around invisible walls, and we can basically go straight to the boss of this area from here. Oh, and Ice Cube clips back through the invisible wall, it looks like. He had to go back and try again, which let Claris make up all that time. They're basically even now. Yeah, so that's what happens when you cut this corner a little bit too sharply, and it's hard to see what actually even happened, but actually clipped back inside of the invisible wall and had to go back and clip out again. Ice Cube's still in the lead by a few seconds, but Claris was able to really make up that deficit. And now we're going to do what we call a long whistle, where when you go through a loading zone, any Pikmin that are considered in your party at all will be teleported to you, no matter how far away the Pikmin actually is. So we're able to collect all of our Pikmin and bring them into this boss fight. Now, this boss fight usually revolves around using yellow Pikmin to turn on lights to stun the boss, but we don't really have very many yellows. But luckily, there's this perfectly placed Candy Pop Bud, which we can toss reds in to turn into yellows. And that'll give us just enough yellow Pikmin to be able to stun the boss. And ideally, if we can time our attack just right, we should be able to get a 2-cycle kill, and Ice Cube does it beautifully. Claris, not far behind. Another great fight by Claris as well. So because we skipped activating the yellow onion, our yellow Pikmin will not be joining us on day 4. So we actually can't use yellow Pikmin again for the rest of the run. Luckily, they aren't specifically needed for anything, so yeah, it's unfortunate that we don't have all the way up to 100 Pikmin, but yeah, yellow onion skip just saves so much time that it's worth it. So on day 4, it's going to work pretty similarly to day 3. We basically skip straight to the boss of this area and defeat the boss, and we're done. But it's going to be a little different on this day. We introduce a new trick. It's called a captain clip. So we stand in this corner and set down the captain, and if we're at just the right angle, it's pretty precise. We can set down Brittany out of bounds and have her respawn up above. And just like before, we're able to long whistle Alf and our Pikmin and make it into the boss fight. So in this boss fight, the Mirror Slug is going to create like some quicksand and to try to suck your Pikmin in, but if you just charge at it, you can do enough damage to get him to pop up out of the ground. And this fight is going to be a 3-cycle fight. He always does the same attacks in the same order, so this next cycle he's going to pop up. And then there's a really big quicksand for the 3rd cycle. It's going to be basically the entire arena. But if you notice, Ice Cube dug up some bombs from this dirt pile, and we're going to throw them at the Mirror Slug. Because if you do the same thing you did for the 1st cycle, he may not die instantly, but if he eats these bombs, it'll always kill him immediately. So just like day 2, we gotta collect this phone. But unlike day 2, we skipped so much that the path back to the ship is still blocked, so we still have to do a few things to open up the path before the phone gets there. Luckily, there's this conveniently placed dirt mound that will make some bomb rocks for us, and we'll use that to blow up this stone wall. And our runners also need to collect this fruit here. I neglected to mention it earlier, but the whole point of the game basically is to collect these fruits, but for any percent we just need to get to the ending of the game. The reason we need to collect this fruit is because we do need enough juice to be able to survive to the end of the run, which is day 7. So after collecting the phone and this enemy to grow a few more rock Pikmin, that's gonna be it for day 4. Why drown the Pikmin? Yeah, Ice Cube drowned some Pikmin to basically just to lower his Pikmin count so that you're able to just hold down, take out exactly 83 Pikmin, and you want to have exactly 83 because you're growing 17 red, so you need that space available in the field to grow the wing Pikmin. So Claris actually pulls ahead a little bit here because Claris is doing a slightly different route with fruits. Ice Cube already has collected all of the fruits he needs in the run. But Claris, that big fruit we got on day 4 was the first fruit that she got. So she's going to need to collect another fruit on day 5 here. So now we're finding our 4th type of Pikmin, the wing Pikmin, and these guys are going to be very important for the run. They can carry things up above the ground, which will help for taking faster routes sometimes, as well as a couple other tricks that you can only do with wing Pikmin that we'll see on day 6 and 7 here. So, like I said, we're going to be growing 17 wing Pikmin. The first thing that we need to do is pull up this dam here, and that'll allow the right side of the river to start flowing again. And we need that to access the back area of Twilight River. So getting 10 wings to pull up that dam is... basically, we want to get that as quick as we can. And it looks like runners are pretty much dead even now, going into the back area here. Claris ahead by maybe 1 or 2 seconds. Now we're still not done yet. There's still a couple more tricks we need to do on this day. But first, we're going to set a few Pikmin on this plant here. That will be used to collect spicy berries, which will be very important later on in the run for boss fights. So now we're going back here, and back here is another fruit. We're not going to be collecting it, but we're going to be throwing our captains on top of it, and then throwing them again up out of bounds. And this out of bounds will let us skip directly to the boss. Both of our runners having a little bit of trouble with this trick, but so this boss uses a bunch of tiny scornets and that they use in different formations to attack you and try to scoop up your Pikmin and kill them. But so as soon as the boss sets them to attack you, you want to throw your Pikmin at it to kill 15 to 20 of them. That'll let it attack a little bit quicker on the second cycle. And here Claris is using her first spicy spray. And this powers up your Pikmin for 40 seconds, as well as flowering everyone. So earlier on in the game, the only way we could get flower Pikmin was by having them drink nectar, but using this spicy spray, all of our Pikmin are instantly flowered, as well as you can see how much stronger they are. They're able to take down the boss very, very quickly. Now, there's one last trick before we're out of day 5, and this is probably the most notorious trick in the game, is Louie Clip. So we need to clip Louie through this invisible wall. The invisible wall is here because we didn't build the bridge up to the boss area. So by precisely setting down Louie and picking him up, we'll hopefully be able to clip him through the invisible wall. This is a very finicky trick, so let's see how they do. Claris seemed to get it pretty quick, not first try, but second try, it looks like. Ice Cube, pretty much just as fast. So it's always good to see runners not get stuck up on that trick for a long time. You can, if you get really unlucky, you can take minutes on this trick, and it's not fun. It's a real run killer here. So I'm glad both of our runners were able to get Louis clip really well here. Claris starting to pull ahead here, going into day 6. Looks like she's about 10 seconds ahead here. So luckily, after the gauntlet that was day 5, we have another pretty simple day coming up here. Ah, yes, good point. Claris is going to lose a little bit of time having to juice this fruit here. So, luckily we have a pretty simple day coming up next. So on day 6, yet again, we just do a captain clip up to the boss and skip most of what was intended to be done on this day. We do meet our 5th and final type of Pikmin, though, the blue Pikmin. They don't really have much use in any percent, however, so we're only going to be getting the blue onion and growing the 1 blue that we start with, and not really doing much else with them for the rest of the run. But we do need to pluck 1 blue Pikmin to get rid of an invisible wall to the boss fight. So, you notice our runners are taking the wing Pikmin up to the boss area here. We're actually not going to be using them in the boss fight, but instead we're going to be charging them at this dirt pile, and that will be digging up some bridge fragments. Our runners are going to want to build this bridge back to the shore there, just after the boss fight, because it'll let them carry Louis back a little bit quicker. So the Myroclops sort of has 2 phases here. One where you have to break the crystal off, and then the second phase where you can kill it. Claris having a really good fight, killing the Myroclops just after it shook her Pikmin off. And Ice Cube actually able to kill it before all the Pikmin get shook off. So, very good Myroclops fights from both of them. Now we just want to build this bridge back to shore and wait for Louis to get back to the ship. I believe our runners are going to opt to grow a few more wing Pikmin while we're waiting, as well as getting our 1 blue Pikmin flowered. And once Louis is collected, we'll end the day and move on to our final day of the run, day 7. Claris seems to keep that lead of right around 10 seconds here. So day 7 is going to be a lot different from the rest of the days in this run. It starts off as basically like an escort mission. So we need to carry Olimar out of this cave. And the Pikmin don't have a set path that they carry Olimar, but instead what they'll do is they will go towards wherever Brittany is, specifically. So we're going to be using Wing Pikmin to carry Olimar, because Wing Pikmin can carry Olimar over the gaps. And that'll also be useful for... there's an out-of-bounds trick coming up in the last section of this day. And then, of course, after the escort mission, we have the final boss. Yeah, so the final boss can be very finicky. The idea is it doesn't strictly have health, but what it does is when you do damage to it, it knocks off a bunch of lobs from it, and if you wait too long, it can actually reabsorb them and basically gain all that health back. But so what our runners are going to try to do is collect 7 bombs throughout this area while they're escaping, and the goal will be to just go really aggressive on the boss and kill it before it's able to reabsorb anything. But if the boss goes wrong, you can lose minutes. So the race is never over until it's over. Like, no lead is insurmountable if something goes wrong on this fight. But hopefully we won't have too much tragedy here on this final fight. So we're setting Pikmin on that dirt wall there to, because behind that dirt wall is where we get some of our bombs. And now Claris is able to walk up out of bounds here. If you walk in just the right way, you're able to just walk straight up that route. It's a little funny how that works. The collision in this game is kind of weird sometimes like that. So now, while we're waiting for the Pikmin to catch up to Brittany, our runners are gonna switch over to our other captains and try to get some bombs for the final fight. And we're gonna dig them up out of these dirt piles. So now, while we're up out of bounds here, Olimar needs to stay really close to Brittany. If you run too far ahead, then the Pikmin will just not know what to do, and they'll just run back in bounds. Ooh, just like that. Fortunately, that just happened to Claris, commentator's curse there. We're just having a little bit of trouble getting them back up out of bounds, but able to get it there. Ice Cube, able to capitalize on that, taking the lead. And starting the final fight here. So like I said, we're going to be try to be really aggressive on this fight, throw all our bombs, charge all our Pikmin. We even have one Spicy Spray saved. And hopefully we'll be able to kill the Plasm Wraith before it's able to reabsorb all these blobs. And Ice Cube takes the win. Claris coming into the final fight here. Let's see. Hope she finishes out strong. Good damage from the bombs. And done. Very nice race. Congratulations, Ice Cube, winning our winners finals, moving on to grand finals. Yeah, so the next race in our tournament is going to be Jay versus Jayhawk, our losers semifinals. I don't believe it's been scheduled yet. I'm not sure when it'll be happening exactly. But keep up with the schedule if you want to stay informed on when that is.
Hey, Play.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm super late.
It's alright, just guess we're waiting on Claris to come in here.
Sure.
I don't know if she wants to, I don't know. But, yeah, very nice run. It was real close throughout the whole race.
Yeah, to be honest, I was quite afraid that the big mistake I made on day 3 was gonna cost the win, because I clipped back in bounds, which is
Yeah, I saw that.
something
You were
you don't expect. Like yeah, never happened to me, I think.
you were a good like 15 seconds ahead at that time though.
Yeah.
Like once that happened, you guys were basically dead even.
Oh,
And
okay.
basically throughout the whole race, at the end of each day, you were no more than 10 seconds apart.
Cool. Well, I guess it was interesting race, but well, obviously I wasn't watching, but I guess Claris got some issues in Formidable Oak first part.
Yeah,
Just for the last minute.
some issue with Olimar going back in bounds.
Oh, yeah.
It's unfortunate. You hate to see it.
Okay.
But
Alright, so next match I think will be J.O. versus Jay.
Jay and Jayhawk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's scheduled yet. But
Yeah, I don't think so. should be the last match of the losers finals. No.
Yeah, that'll be losers semis, and then
Yeah, you're right.
winner of that versus Claris will be
Sure.
losers finals.
Like that.
So we're getting real close to the end of the tournament here, guys. Stay tuned.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah, Claris hasn't answered. I don't know if she's gonna be coming in here, so I guess we can call it here.
Alrighty.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks for watching. See you.
Bye.